Joining me now is the CEO of Franco-Nevada, David Arkale. David, so good to have you back on the show. Thanks for being with us.
Pleasure to be back.
So we're at Gold Stock Analyst Day. I know you're speaking about Franco-Nevada here to investors present, and there's been so much activity for Franco-Nevada. We have results coming up at the end of March. How do you feel about the company's performance so far this year?
I couldn't be more proud. I think in 2014 we spent over $900 million on new investments. We did 5 significant acquisitions. I think that's sort of the bread and butter for our company, is trying to buy assets that will give us lots of new gold ounces in the future in terms of production, but also that optionality on some great new gold camps. So I could be more pleased. I think Candelaria was a big deal for us, but entering in the Terenga Sabadola camp in Senegal, and also the Karma camp in Burkina Faso, I think they're going to serve us for multiple decades going in the future.
So could it be, I'm speaking with someone that has a company with no issues?
Well, I think I'm the laziest CEO in the business. I have very few challenges. We don't have any lawsuits, no arbitrations. Our effective tax rates continue to decline. Really, we see 2014, because of the new acquisitions that I talked about, is going to be a record year, both in ounces produced and in terms of revenues. And 2015, now we'll get the full benefit of a full year at Candelaria, will be a record year as well.
So is that your focus for 2015? What would you say it is?
Well, actually, to deploy the rest of our capital. We see still this is a buyer's market, and I want to get as many deals done before the gold price comes back. And I really see it as a great opportunity just to, again, create a base for further growth in this company.
And how is Franco-Nevada positioning themselves with the volatility we've been seeing with the gold price really since the start of the year? How do you position yourself and prepare yourself?
Well, actually, for us, the cycle's our friend, so it's actually the bigger swings that we look for when the equity markets open and close. We have a big portfolio. We have over 250 mining assets, and a lot of the assets are in the development or earlier exploration phase. So we need, every once in a while, we need good equity markets so that there's risk money available to advance those assets forward so they can become producers in the future. So we benefit in the bull markets just from the organic growth that we get in the portfolio. In the bear markets, which we're in right now, then that's when there's very little capital available. We are actually the most net liquid gold company in the world, and so we deploy that capital. And that's why we were so busy last year. We think it's a wonderful time to add assets in the down dip. So I think the volatility in terms of larger swings we have in the marketplace, we benefit from these cycles.
Now, David, I'd really like to talk about the mining industry as a whole now and get your sentiment for what's happening right now. Cost cutting was really the theme last year, maybe the last 2 years. What do you think miners need to focus on going forward this year?
Right now, I think everybody is kind of doing that reactive, make sure operations generate cash flow and give the investors some dividends, because that's what the institutions want right now. It's a scary thing, because we saw this back in 99, 2001, when we had gold get down to $250 an ounce. And what happens is the industry effectively goes into liquidation mode. They've stopped grassroots exploration. They're actually delaying their sustaining capital. They're not investing in new projects going forward. And I think what the industry is doing in a lot of respects is giving investors what they want in the short time, but then investors in a couple of years are going to be very unhappy, because they're going to see their mine lives coming to an end. They're going to see those reclamation liabilities being accelerated, and they're going to be then demanding, why weren't you developing new projects and new investments going forward? And it's something that I think there's a lack of in the industry right now.
Well, you mentioned exploration. I just want to get some thoughts from you on that. You recently said that Franco-Nevada can't figure out a way to make money in grassroots exploration. I'd like to give you a little chance to talk on that.
Yeah. Well, we think the most wealth in the mining business is created from new discoveries, especially if you have land already and someone makes that discovery in your land. Someone doing a drill hole at Yanacocha or at Hemlo can overnight create billions of dollars of value, irrespective of the gold price. The trouble, though, is that a lot of exploration that's done out there, it tends to be sort of quick hit type drilling on known historic targets, and it tends to be fairly marginal type of potential in terms of what you can get out of those properties. And I think the marketplace too is sitting there and saying, okay, why aren't we getting more major discoveries? And so, going back and re-drilling old targets tends to limit your potential of finding a major discovery. And then the market's looking at it saying, geez, every time we invest, every cycle that it's taking longer and longer to permit these projects is getting much more risky, whether we actually be able to have a mine at the end of the day, because they might not get their permits, or there might be NGO opposition against the projects. And so investors are saying, how can we make sure that we're getting a real return on the investments? I think the stat now for the mining industry in general now is that from discovery to development now it takes 12 years. Well, what's a DCF of your money 12 years out? And that's assuming all these other risks weren't a problem. And the market, I believe, and I gave a speech about this recently at the Vancouver Roundup, is voted with their feet. They're saying we don't want to fund exploration because we don't see a real return for the risk capital that we're putting in the sector. And now they're rewarding companies like ourselves that do no exploration, a premium valuation, and that companies that are actually doing exploration, they have a discounted valuation. I think what's going to be needed is that there's got to be some productivity breakthrough. Like if someone can find a major new camp, such as a Hemlo, that gets everybody back in the business because they say, oh, now there's some new understanding or new camp that we can get real high productivity return, or there's a new type of deposit that can be exploited. You know, we had in the 80s the oxide golds in Nevada, and that created lots of new investment opportunities. Or we got to have some technological breakthrough. And until we have one of those three things, I think most investors are going to sit back saying, we don't see a real return on our exploration dollar investments.
So if there is less exploration, what does that do to the gold price?
You know, it won't do much. You know, in terms of supply demand for the gold price, all the supply that's out there right now is just 2% of the existing stockpile of gold. In terms of exploration, I believe if you shut down all the exploration, it wouldn't have any impact because the market wouldn't notice. If you look at it, most of the big gold mining companies aren't doing grassroots exploration. They're just doing brownfield around their existing mine sites. And I think it'd take decades before you really felt the impact of the lack of exploration there. The reality is if there was no new gold mines, there'd still be a very vibrant gold market. There'll be lots of trading going on. It's just that there'll be a slightly different clearing price for that gold. So I always challenge the explorationists is that the world doesn't have to have exploration. And so that's something why the explorationists have to sort of demonstrate that, you know, an investment in them will create added value in terms of what they can produce.
Well, David, good thoughts from you today, and I wish you best of luck with everything at Franco-Nevada.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you very much.
It was great speaking with you. Thank you. And thanks for watching our coverage here from Gold Stock Analyst Day. We'll have more for you, so stay tuned to Kitco.com. Thanks for watching.